What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Dreamer from GotBetterBeats.com, and I'm here again. And honestly, I know I've been going for a long time, and I actually did this video pretty much. I did this video before, and it was kind of rushed. You know, it wasn't really prepared, and I just didn't want to just put anything out there. But honestly, the reason for my absence is I had a lot of things going on. I had some death in the family, so I had to make sure I was, really there for a lot of people. It was my aunt, and when I tell you, she was like a second mother to me. So I mean, I just wanted to make sure I was there for my cousins, man, because like that was like growing up in our house. I mean, we're a really close-knit family, so I mean, hey, I know if you guys are saying sorry for your loss, thank you, because this is not a live video. But yes, I'm back into it. And the reason why I wanted to get back into it, because I wanted to address some of the comments that I was getting about, somebody asked me about the kick and the 808, and they was asking about the rat kick. So I think I got a kick that kind of sounds like the rat kick. It's one of my kicks called Driven. And I have it gain staged a little bit, so it actually does hit pretty hard, but I gain staged it a little bit because, when I make it, I mean, when I'm actually making my beats, I really hate for stuff to really be clipping. And the reason why I gain stage it actually while I'm making my music is because I want to make sure that I really get a good interpretation of what it's going to be sounding like, because that's kind of how I put things together in my mind. I make sure that it's sounding the way that I kind of envision it, and that's what really keeps me in tune when it comes to creating music. So this is the loop that I made in the last video, and if you guys actually want to see me make the beats live, make sure you comment down below. But the main reason for this tutorial is for us to, just so I can actually show you some of the tips that I use to get some of the results that I get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play that for you, and make sure you guys like and subscribe. I'm not sure if I said that. I'm going to play the loop for you first, and then I'm just going to add in the elements that I did. That way, it's kind of like making the beat without making the beat. You can actually hear everything separate, so you can actually hear the components. So this is the loop right here. Okay, and that's really dope. This is a loop that I found in Personas, and I did some things to it, and it sounds really cool. So let me play that with the 808 that I added in. And man, like that 808 is very clean. That's also one of the ones I have in the loop packs. And I'm not really shameless plugging like that, but I'm letting you guys know, if you like these sounds, it does help me out. And I also have free kits as well. Okay, so this is the kick with the 808. So you'll actually get a chance to hear how they sound just in raw form. And I played it earlier, and it actually sounds pretty good, but you'll see that it cleans it up when you add in the side chain, and that way it'll duck the 808 just for that split second. You'll get that punchiness of your kick and not really them just kind of meshing together, because sometimes that kind of creates problems in your low end when you're really trying to push your levels and really get that finish on your beats. That way when people pull your beats up, it just kind of feels in the headphones. So let me play those together, and it sounds like this. Okay, and sorry for the crackling, man. Looks like it's about that time for me to actually start really building another PC. I was thinking I was going to add some memory and stuff like that to this one, but I'm thinking that it's just about that time for me to really start just buying my components and putting it together. So when I do that, I'm definitely going to make sure I do a review on it, because I'm excited to see how all these VSTs will come together, because just having the freedom to create without really playing with your buffer so much every single time would actually be good. Okay, so this is the clap that I have in there. Okay, pretty standard clap. I put a little fat channel uh, on there. I put a little bit of this Neve on there because, you know, it was kind of dull, and I think that's why I picked it. But I definitely wanted to just cut through just a little bit. So this is the hi-hat that I have on there as well. And I did show you guys the trick to use the pattern mode in this. So honestly, it's super dope, super quick, because as much as I love making beats, sometimes I don't like to, spend 30 minutes on just, you know, clicking the hi-hat sometimes. I mean, sometimes I do it on the last beat, I did it and it sounds amazing. But sometimes I just kind of want to get the idea going, even if I go back and do it the old-fashioned way. So let's hear what these hi-hats sound like. Okay, and honestly, as you can hear, gain staging is definitely helping the kick and the 808 really mesh well together. And I don't know if you can hear, but my wife's downstairs. I think she making something. I don't know what she's making, but she down there doing something. And honestly, it's crazy, but it actually sounds really good like this. But let me guys show you what, how you can duck it anyway. I mean, because it sounds good now, but I know once I start really making the full beat, mixing it and everything, I will have to really be trying to do some cuts in the sub sections of the EQ and everything. So let me show you what I like to use. If you have waves, I love using the Waves C1 compressor because it's very simple to use. Okay, so what you do is you hit the side chain button if you're using Studio One. I know Cubase has that as well. Um, I'm not sure about Pro Tools, and I know, but most you can side chain just in any DAW, even if you do it the old-fashioned way of creating a send effect and sending it to the send channel, and so yeah. But usually, it's gonna be a way that you can do it like this. Okay, so what I like to do is I start off by bringing down the threshold, usually about, you know, 20 to 21. And I usually put the ratio on maybe about 3.5, sometimes 3. It just depends on, and the attack, I keep it pretty fast on the attack, and the release, you can between 80 and 100. If you want that zipping sound, you could actually turn it up to where, turn it up to how fast you want it to release the 808 to come back in. But let's see what it sounds like now. And honestly, I'm going to pull the threshold down just a little bit so I can get more of that kick coming in. And as you can see, like it's making the kick more prevalent. And if I pull it down even more, you'll really start hearing the compressor work. See, honestly, I would think that would take it down a little too much. But honestly, if you wanted something to be almost like a kick with the tail on it, I mean, you could really make something sound really dope that way. But let me take it down. I mean, let me bring it up just a little bit more. And as you can hear, it really allows that kick to really punch through. So let me play that in the context of the mix. So that way, if I wanted to do something like, let's say if I wanted to add in maybe like, a classic clipper or something like that, let me just add in just a little bit of a bit of saturation. And honestly, I would definitely have to gain stage a little bit more to really get, the levels that I want. But as you can hear now, it just, you're actually able to get more kick involved, and you'll just have the tail of the 808. That way, it can kind of mesh together and you have the best of both worlds. Or if you wanted to, well, let me let you hear how this classic clipper sounds, because this T-Rex classic clipper is super dope. And this is without it right here. So it just kind of gives you that, almost like, it really gives you that clipping sound, like, like you're beating down the door, especially when you're getting into your mix. So I kind of like that. And there's so many different ways you can really go through, and so many different ways you can go through and really process this. Honestly, I would throw a compressor on there. It's kind of clean already, so I don't think I would really need to do much EQ. But some cases, yeah, I would give it like a bump up in the between 60 and 70 or something like that, up to 80 sometimes, depending on how I want it to cut through. But even on the 808 side, if you wanted to add maybe some distortion, well, as a matter of fact, let me throw the classic clipper on the 808 just so you can. And that right there, like, so with that being said, so you have these two, and let me just bring this down just to make sure, you know, it doesn't mess up my signal chain for the side chain. But if I play both of them together, you're getting the best of both worlds. You can kind of hear the punch, the punch of the kick come through, and you're also getting that, the 808 with it processed. And what I can actually do is I can actually take this down just a little bit. Let me see, maybe 2.5. And that sounds just a little bit better. And I actually kind of like that delayed reaction. And honestly, you can adjust it to where, it's more blended as well. That way, it's more cohesive and it sounds like one unit. But sometimes I like that separation of the kick, and I just like the tail of the 808 to be an afterthought, so to speak. Like you can feel it, but it's really not gaining your attention as much as the kick. But like I was saying, if you wanted to take it even further with the 808, and there's a couple different ways you can do this as well. Um, like something like an envelope shaper, like transient designer or transient shaper. Let's see here. So let's say if I take the attack up, let's say about 50%, and add on the clipping feature, it should sound pretty crazy right now. And I love using the pump feature. What the pump feature actually does is it brings it down so that way, you get the initial attack, it brings it down, and the sustain kind of comes back up for the tail. So without the clip, it just adds a little less saturation. So, so it's different ways you can do that. So let me mute this and let you hear just the punchiness of the 808. And as you can see, I'm way up here, almost to 10 dB. So, you know, doing stuff like this, you just want to be mindful of your levels, because most of the time when we're going through samples, everything is normalized to 0 dB. And, I know some people really don't, they don't gain stage as they go. But honestly, I think gain staging as you go kind of lets you know what it's going to sound like, and the type of sound that you're looking for, because there's been times that I've made beats in Machine and not really gain staging, so everything's clipping, it's sounding one way, and when I go to mix it, man, it sounds so different. It's almost like it's a different beat. So just make sure you guys keep that in mind. But I hope that you guys did enjoy this kicking 808 tutorial. And I know we kind of went off into some different things that you can do, as far as me talking about gain staging and using the transient designer and using clippers and stuff like that. But honestly, I just want you guys to have all the tips that you can have to really make some really good music.